Excuse me, Chief. Can I talk to you? Gil Colson is missing.
What?
Hasn't been heard from since last night.
Christ, not again.
Hey, Mr. Wayne.
Hello friends, I'm Naz Perez and this is your weekly ticket. We are only 30 days away from Robert Pattinson's take on Batman. Following recent news that the Batman runtime clocks in at 2 hours and 55 minutes, making it the longest Batman film, director Matt Reeves gave Esquire magazine a ton of influences on him in making the film. First was how much of the detective noir and street-level violence came from the 4-issue run of Frank Miller's Batman Year One. Next was 70s cinema. Like Todd Phillips' Joker, Taxi Driver is listed as a major influence, but so too are the award-winning detective dramas, The French Connection and Chinatown. Also taking from the hardline 70s is the Riddler's insignia, which Reeves confirms is meant to mimic the calling card design of the Zodiac killer that terrified San Francisco in the late 1960s. But an out-of-the-box influence for Reeves and Pattinson was Kurt Cobain, with Reeves previously telling Empire magazine that rather than make Bruce Wayne the Playboy version that we've seen before, there's another version who had gone through a great tragedy and become a recluse. So I started making this connection to Gus Van Sant's Last Days. Reeves recently added to this thought, telling Esquire, "This guy becomes so reclusive, we don't know what he's doing. Is this guy some kind of wayward, reckless drug addict?" And the truth is that he is a kind of drug addict. His drug is his addiction to this drive for revenge. He's like a Batman Kurt Cobain. So, if you're keeping track, you have exactly 30 days to catch up on Last Days, The French Connection, Chinatown, Taxi Driver, and Zodiac in anticipation of the Batman.
Who are you under there?
I'm vengeance.
New Line Cinema has announced sequel plans for Mortal Kombat. 2021's James Wan-produced reboot was one of the more box office friendly day and date titles of last year, debuting to $23 million in its first weekend. Marvel's Moon Knight scribe Jeremy Slater has been hired to write Mortal Kombat 2, and though no returning characters have been announced, we assume that more characters from the beloved video game will appear in the sequel. I mean, they have to show the tournament in the sequel, right? That would be a flawless victory. And finally, John Krasinski is reuniting with Steve Carell for Krasinski's next directorial effort titled IF. Now, it's not an official office reunion, but a Krasinski idea about a child's journey to rediscover their imagination. Ryan Reynolds, Minari's Alan Kim, Fleabag's Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and Oscar winner Louis Gossett Jr. are co-starring in the Paramount Pictures original. So, with Carell starring and Krasinski writing, directing, and taking the lead, I mean, I guess this makes Jim the boss now, right? February is Black History Month, and Rotten Tomatoes and Vudu have teamed up to curate some wonderful movie lists for this moment. And today I am joined by Rotten Tomatoes awards editor, Jacqueline Coley, who has curated 55 films that celebrate Black joy, which I personally love so much because, as stated at the top of the list, so often when we see Black stories on film being recognized or winning awards, it's likely that the story being told is about oppression or slavery. And it's important to highlight cinema that celebrates Black joy, which is why I'm so excited to talk to you, Jacqueline, today. Because with Valentine's Day right around the corner, I know you have some romantic recommendations for us from this list that are all available to watch right now on Vudu. So right off the bat, hello, thanks for being here. And what is your go-to romantic movie from this list that just like reminds you of the power of love?
Actually, it's a different one. First of all, Naz, so great to see you again. Thank you so much for having me. But this I particularly love is The Preacher's Wife, which stars Whitney Houston and Denzel Washington. Already makes it an A+ certified fresh one, in my opinion. It actually has like a fairly low score on the tomato meter, but what's great about it is it shows the power of love between family, as well as showing the power of love between couples, and also unrequited love between Denzel Washington and Whitney Houston's character, as he plays basically an angel brought down to help her, the preacher's wife, and her husband, the preacher, navigate a rough time, which I think is really kind of cool.
I've seen the way she looks at you.
Really?
I mean, really.
Wait, I love that you said that because one, first of all, The Preacher's Wife, like one of the greatest Christmas movies ever. Like you get 3 Whitney Houston performances in it. It's just so good. And the dance scene between Denzel and Whitney is so cringe and amazing. But I wanted to say, they're sort of a movie couple that I wish just kissed, when when you just wish 2 people would kiss on screen, but I didn't want to spoil it. So I love that you sort of shared that. Love The Preacher's Wife. But speaking of movie couples, is there a movie couple from this list that you think would still be together in real life just because their relationship makes so much sense?
Well, I cheated on this pick just a little bit because I picked Southside with You, which is actually the story that was produced by John Legend about Obama and Michelle's first date. And they actually went and watched Do the Right Thing, a film that is not on our Black Joy list, but it is considered one of the essential Black films in cinema. And just watching that story retold in a dramatic fashion and seeing what you can only imagine where there's first twinges of infatuation, like the fact that, Michelle was the high flyer at the law firm and was trying to push down this junior associate who was trying to flirt with her. I just love, love, love that. And the fact that they're actually still going strong. I mean, he just the other day was posting about, happy birthday, Michelle, my partner, my best friend. And I love seeing their love continue to grow after he's left office and done so many crazy things. Yeah.
Hello.
You're late.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice.
I expected it. You were late for your first day of work.
You noticed that too.
I'm your advisor. I'm supposed to notice.
One of the movie couples I love from this list is Love and Basketball. I love that it's on this list. It's such a classic. And it's so great to go back to as an adult because I watched it when I think I was 10. And Quincy and Monica's relationship, I would just love to see being played out in LA now. But another thing I noticed from the list, aside from all the amazing classics that are on it, is that Taye Diggs is in a lot of the romance films on this list. So I have 3 questions for you, friend. One is, do you remember when he followed everyone on Twitter? I just thought that was so funny. I don't know why it makes me
Everybody was followed by Taye Diggs, but keep going.
It was so random. Second, what do you think made him the go-to romantic lead? And do you have a favorite film that or favorite romantic film from this list that he starred in?
I will say this. I think with Taye Diggs is he's a perfect leading man because he is gorgeous and incredibly sexy and obviously the subject of your wildest fantasies, but more importantly, he's disarming and I would say almost boy-like in how he approaches these things. Like when you look at him in something like Stella Got Her Groove Back, or when you look at him in the film that I love him in, Brown Sugar, alongside the other a frequent appearance on our list, Sanaa Lathan, who's also very frequent romantic comedy veteran. Yeah, it's really, I think, his demeanor. You can feel the sort of guilelessness to him. He's a man that you want to fall in love with because you don't think he's going to hurt you on the other side.
I don't want to be your friend no more.
Wow. That was a great line. Yeah. And I feel like we don't come across those that often, which is why when we see them in film, it's sort of is this fantasy? But I love that. Yeah, that's great. Brown Sugar is such a great film. Director Rick Famuyiwa, I feel like is someone who's so underappreciated in a way. And it's just a matter of time before that man gets his flowers. Is there a film on this list that you think is underappreciated and should be considered a classic?
It's funny that you mentioned Rick because he's actually also the director of our next selection, which is Dope, which I love. It stars Shameik Moore. Folks realize he voiced Miles Morales in the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And it's just an absolutely love letter to 90s hip hop culture, as well as having this so adorable love story in the middle of it between Zoe Kravitz and Shameik Moore. It's so great. She's the coolest girl in school, or in this case, not in school, but from around the way. And, just that sort of ambitious, she's out of my league, but I still want to date girl type romance. I love, love, love their push me, pull you sort of, I wouldn't even call it a romance. It's just young flirtation, hopefully leading to romance. And it's just incredibly well done.
You gonna say something or just stare at me?
Yeah. And if you love 90s hip hop, such a good, it's almost, I would almost call it like a must watch, but I love that you said that about Zoe Kravitz's character. Cause I also just feel like the Kravitz family have this cool gene that no other humans got in the world. There's just something about them that's so cool. I'm someone who loves rotten romantic films. There's a lot of rotten rom-coms out there. And I know there's a lot of rotten films that you love too. So I can't let you go without telling us, do you have a romantic rotten film from this list that you like?
Sadly, one of the greatest classics, and probably, in my opinion, one of the greatest kung fu movies ever made.
Ooh.
Produced by Barry Gordy, The Last Dragon. And this film, first of all, his love interest in it is Vanity from like Prince. Vanity is his love interest.
Wow.
And the lead character, the actor who plays it, Tamak, he plays Bruce Leroy, who is the last dragon. He's the apprentice that is learning from his master. And along the way, he is also trying to find his glow and woo his lady love. I love their romance in this. It's amazing. The film also has a relationship ending where one of the characters who's basically playing a low rent Cyndi Lauper says, yeah, I may be just another girl from Kew Gardens with nice boobs. And I'm very much making this PG-13, but that was actually repeated in another film that is incredible, which is Sorry to Bother You. And so The Last Dragon, it inspired so much of Black culture, whether it be a Busta Rhymes video or Boots Riley, Sorry to Bother You. But at the core of it, there's this really, really great romance and also great action.
The little punk thinks he's a kung fu master.
I am no master.
You sure look like a master to me.
Whoa, I think that was maybe my favorite recommendation out of the whole list. I'm 100% watching that tonight because I mean, you had me at inspiring like other great works of art like that. And it's amazing when films can do that. And that's why we love having you here for those recommendations. Jacqueline, thank you so much for joining us and let us know where people can find you.
Y'all can definitely find me always every day at RottenTomatoes.com. Be sure to check our awards tour and our awards leaderboard. I keep track of all of the major wins of all of the award contenders for the year. And you can also listen to me on the Rotten Tomatoes is Wrong podcast alongside my host, Mark Ellis, where lovely folks like Naz come on and tell us which films they think Rotten Tomatoes is wrong about. And you can find me on all the social media channels at That Jacqueline.
Yes, thank you so much. It was so good seeing you. And yes, guys, the podcast is also a must listen if I was to recommend something, because you and Mark are just chef's kiss on it. So thank you so much. Friends, remember that you can find movies that celebrate Black joy under Rotten Tomatoes Recommends on Vudu. For the entire month of February, Rotten Tomatoes will be celebrating Black history, from pioneering filmmakers to the best movies and television from this century. There's a link in the description below for both Rotten Tomatoes' Black History Hub and Vudu's movies that celebrate Black joy. New movies in theaters this weekend are Moonfall and Jackass Forever.
We better do something fast or we're gonna crash down!
I knew I should never have come! Let's lose the other booster and see if the moon can pull us the rest of the way. Casey, can we do it? Come on, buddy!
In Moonfall, a mysterious force knocks the moon from its orbit around Earth and sends it hurtling on a collision course with our planet, threatening all existence. With mere weeks before impact and the world on the brink of annihilation, NASA executive and former astronaut Jo Fowler is convinced she has the key to saving us all. But she only has the support of a conspiracy theorist and one astronaut from her past. These unlikely heroes will mount an impossible last-ditch mission into space, leaving behind everyone they love, only to find that they might have prepared for the wrong mission after all. Halle Berry, Patrick Wilson, and John Bradley go to space in the new disaster movie from Roland Emmerich, director of Independence Day. Available to watch at home this weekend are House of Gucci and American Underdog.
Can you keep a secret?
Father, Son, and House of Gucci.
Fresh off the heels of its 3 Screen Actors Guild nominations, including Best Ensemble, House of Gucci is now available to watch at home on Vudu. Ridley Scott's film is inspired by the true story of the family empire behind the Italian fashion house of Gucci and the numerous betrayals therein, spanning 3 decades of love, decadence, revenge, and ultimately murder. we see what a name means, what it's worth, and how far a family will go for control. Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Al Pacino, and an unrecognizable Jared Leto lead the epic true crime drama. Well, my friends, that is it for today. Thank you for letting me join you in your living room or in your phone. I don't know where you're watching this. My name's Naz. Thanks for watching Weekly Ticket, and let us know what you're watching this week.